Hello there, everyone. How are you doing today? Not scared enough? Well, today we're going to be reading Pokemon Lost Silver. If you enjoy this kind of content, leave a like, maybe subscribe, and I would very much appreciate that. And without any further ado, let's let the horror begin. You see, I am a single college student living alone in an apartment. I was very enthusiastic about the release of Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver here in the States. I have purposely locked myself out of all media on the internet side for school purposes. That means no 4chan, no /v/ and no Bulbapedia, etc. As I was busy with the school year and being poor at the time, I wasn't able to buy Soul Silver on its launch date. After my school year ended, I ordered Soul Silver on Amazon. However, it would take about a week for it to arrive. I decided that during that time, I would replay my crystal version on my Game Boy Color. However, I realized that long ago, my mom threw it away because I told her the save went dead. And I was very upset about it then. She also threw away my silver version, so all I have is my Game Boy Color. As such, I set out to GameStop and bought a used silver version, as it's the only Pokemon game they had left for the Game Boy Color. $10, fairly cheap. I went home and started it up for a nostalgia trip. However, that's where things started getting bizarre, and most likely the reason why you read this. The Game Freak logo started up as normal, but it just froze there. I thought the cart was just errored or something, so I turned it off and on. The same thing happened. I tried pressing the start button, over and over, and all the buttons. Eventually the logo vanished, and there was a black screen for about 5 seconds. Suddenly, rather than the usual menu screen, I was already in the game in a previous saved file, which was odd. I was expecting all the other cards to be wiped of the poor battery. Either way, I wasn't complaining. I would have chosen the continue option to see what the previous guy did anyways. First off, I clicked his trainer information. His name was just ... He didn't have much originality. I checked his profile, and apparently he had 999 hours and 99 minutes put in the game, with all 16 badges, 99999 Pokédollars, and all 201 Pokemon on the Pokédex. Seeing as he apparently had Mew and Celebi logged also, I'm guessing he either used a Game Genie or was a really hardcore Pokemon player back then. I checked his Pokemon to see what a bad butt team he had. To my surprise, I saw 5 unknowns and the 6th Pokemon named Hurry. I'm thinking that this must be a cruel joke by the person who last played the game, but I decided to check the profiles of those Pokemon anyways. As I expected, there were different letters of unknown, all level 5. I was a bit shaky with all my unknown alphabet at the time, but I identified the word spelled out to be leave. As for the 6th Pokemon, it turned out to be a Cyndaquil. Mind you, this is before there were individualized Pokemon icons. The Cyndaquil looked normal, but it was level 5 with only 1 HP left, and only 2 attacks, Leer and Flash. I don't know why they named him Hurry, but at the time I just disregarded it. The most eerie thing was that despite my having my volume at max, none of the Pokemon had their usual cries, just pure, unadulterated silence. Having enough of the team, I closed it. I was parked at what appears to be in a room inside Bellsprout Tower. However, for some reason there were no NPCs around. Even more eerie is that the pillar in the middle didn't move at all, as if it was just leaning on its side. There was no music at all. There's no exit or ladder, at least I thought there wasn't. I walked around for a few minutes, but couldn't seem to find a way out. This is certainly not a room I've seen in the Bellsprout Tower before. I tried checking my items for escape rope, but the bag was completely empty. There weren't any Pokemon there either. Finally, I managed to find the ladder, which turned out to be beside the pillar. The screen turned black and the music finally started playing. I had a sudden chill as I recognized that melody. I heard to be the tune you hear when you finally listen to the radio at the elf ruins where the unknown are at. I immediately realized that there wasn't a loading transition, but rather I was in a dark room and would need flash. Before I took care of that though, I immediately checked my gear to change the radio to something more pleasant, but it turns out there was no radio card, or even a phone or time cards. There was only a map card in which Gold ... from earlier, I will call him Gold from now on, was just walking in a mist of black. I recall that Cyndaquil had flash, so I turned off my Pokegear and made Cyndaquil use flash. I didn't see any message saying hurry and use flash or anything like that. The room just became lit just like that, and I soon regretted it. The room was a chilling blood red, with a linear gray path heading south. The ladder I used to go up to down was not there at all. I had no choice but to head south. The screen got darker every 20 steps I made, until I finally made it to the end, which appears to be a sign. I read the sign, which said turn back now. Suddenly I was asked to answer yes or no, but there was no question asked. I chose yes and did not know what it was asking, and the screen went black again, making a ladder climb sound. The unknown radio music stopped, and in a few seconds was replaced by not as creepy pokey flute radio music. It was another dark room, but I held my breath and used flash again. Suddenly it said that Hurry had fainted, which was odd since I recall there were no status conditions like poison on him, and I clearly wasn't in a battle. I checked my Pokemon quickly, but suddenly he's no longer in my party or with us. In fact, after a bit of investigating, none of my Pokemon are there, but instead it all replaced with level 10 unknown. I did the same thing before I spelled out the unknown. Then my team of unknowns spelled, he died. Either way, after all that creepy change, the room was lit to reveal myself in a very small room that appeared to be only 4 squares big. The walls of the room were gray bricks, as if I was hiding inside something that was hollowed out. Outside that room appeared to be a bunch of graves, similar to the ones from Pokemon Red and Blue. But I've walked about that room and pressed the A, but nothing happened. I've already concluded this was a clearly hacked game, and some sadistic F sold its GameStop. However, my only curiosity kept me going. I checked the trainer profile of ... again, only to find out that the spread of gold was missing his arms. He also appears to be less smug, but rather seems more sad and empty in the way that I do. Not know how to describe. For some reason, it also is now said he has 24 badges, which is clearly impossible. After a few minutes of aimless wandering, my character suddenly spun around through the escape rope spinning animation. Instead of flying up though, my character spun downward slowly as if sinking. After that scream, the music stopped. After finally landing, the overworld spread of gold is colored very differently now. Instead of the usual red color he dons, he appears completely white now, including his skin, as if he came straight from the colorless Game Boy games, placed into a colored background of the Game Boy Color. I checked his profile, and now, while its overworld sprite, he lost his legs and what appears to be bloody tears from his eyes. It also says he now has 32 badges, which now starts to disturb me, as this change of number seems to represent something important. I also checked into a Pokemon, which this time contains 5 unknown and a level 100 Celebi without a nickname. The unknown are this time level 15 and spelled out dying. I checked the Celebi's profile. It was a shiny Celebi, except it was only one half the sprite. 1 leg, 1 arm, 1 eye. It only has 1 attack, Perish Song. The area I was in was the Sprout Tower with the immobile pillar as before, except everything is apparently red now. I walked north what felt like forever. Eventually I finally encountered some generic man and woman NPC. They were all lined up to the side, just facing the long, slantish pillar in the middle. They were also white, and nothing happens when I try to speak to them. I kept going north until eventually the pillar finally appears chopped off, with a transparent red in the spot. I went up to red without even pressing the A. I was suddenly engaged and finally in a battle. The music starts again, from which it sounds like the unknown radio music again, but played backwards. Gold's battle back sprite matches his front one with the bloody eyes and white skin and lack of arms, while red sprite was the same as in GSC except transparent. The text simply said wants the battle, as if he had no name, and both of us only had 1 Pokemon each, which was weird as I swore I only had 6 with the unknowns. My shiny Celebi came out conveniently with half a sprite for the back sprite also. The shiny noise and animation was different, as the sounds it made sound like much more screech attacks used consecutively. Red sent out seemingly normal male Pikachu, except he is level 255, and his sprite seems sad as tears in his eyes. Rather than the usual fight item Pokemon Run menu, I was only given the option to use attacks. Since Celebi is the only one, I chose it. Naturally, since Pikachu was level 255, he went first. Pikachu used Curse, lowering his speed, increasing his other stats. I'm not even sure if Pikachu could use Curse. Celebi used Perish Song, In 3 turns, both Pokemon KO'd. Not like I have a choice. At this point, I didn't even go back to the fight menu, as the battle just continued without me. And note, there were no animations at all for some reason. Pikachu used Flail, which didn't do much damage, but despite his level up boost, as his health was maxed. Celebi used Parasol. Nothing happens as it was already used. Pikachu used Frustration, which did a butt ton of damage, knocking Celebi down to less than 10 HP. Celebi used Pain Split, which surprised me as Celebi didn't even have that attack in the first place. Now Celebi and Pikachu have about 150 HP. Pikachu used Mean Look, not like that did anything. As expected, due to the effects of Parasong, my Celebi fainted. He said in the text it said, "Celebi has died." And instead of an ordinary drop-off during the screen animation, the Celebi black sprite just vanished. For some reason, the Pikachu was still up, even with the Parasong didn't count as my loss. Pikachu used one more different attack beyond his 5 attack limit. Pikachu used Destiny Bond. Afterwards, said Pikachu has died with a slow fade out animation. Apparently, I was the winner as transparent red sprite showed up and said ... At that point, I freaked out as the transparent red sprite was suddenly beheaded, leaving nothing but his transparent body. The battle then ended at that point and faded out along with the music. I'm back in the overworld with another change to the gold sprite. He's now as transparent as Red's overworld sprite. I quickly checked Gold's profile, which this time the only thing that remains of him is his head, with the transparent skin. His head was zoomed in a bit, showing a black void in his eyes. It now stated that he has 40 badges. I then backed down and checked my Pokemon. They were all level 20 shiny unknown, which then spelled out no more. I was at what I now know is the next to the end. There was apparently no music playing, but then for some reason I still felt like something was there that could be heard. I was back in my room in New Barktown. Maybe I finally get to play this game properly, but who am I kidding? I knew that sadistic F must have done something. I walked around my room to interact with things as I'm a bit afraid to go downstairs and see what is awaiting down there. No, I said walked as while the background was moving, Gold was not moving. His transparent limbs were all doing so just floated there like the ghost you see from Diamond and Pearl. As expected, the radio, computer, and TV did not work, so I had no choice but to go down the stairs. I ended up in the same lower room of my house. Everything appears normal, except the mom isn't home. After failing to interact with anything in this room, I decide to go outside. To my surprise, the door leading outside to the south doesn't work, and instead I just walk straight through it to a void. I continued moving south to see what the F was going on. My house vanishes as it hits south into the void. It was creepy as when I entered the void, the outline on Gold's transparent sprite turned white to contrast with the pitch black. Eventually I reached a white area and Gold's sprite turned back and transparent again. I continued south without thinking of stopping at all. After a long trek south, I finally encountered something. It was Gold's regular sprite. I talked to it. He said, "Goodbye. Forever." Notably with the space in between the forever and ... and vanished. As that happened, it said, that question marks used nightmare. At that point, I would not deny that being possible. Gold did another escape rope animation sequence and slowly going downwards like before. I'm now back in the small hollowed out room surrounded by graves earlier. Or at least I was saying back there, as there's no sprite anymore. I tried to walk around but nothing moved. Not even wall bumping noise. I checked my trainer profile. With absolutely no gold sprite left, it said I have 0 badges. And all the pictures of the Johto gym leaders at the bottom were replaced with skulls. I checked my Pokemon, which were all level 25 unknown. As expected, it spelled out a phrase that I dared to read. I'm dead. As soon as I went back to the overworld, the room I supposedly was in was covered with the same blocks as the walls. Then I figured out exactly what the room was when the final text said RIP. That room was a big grave surrounded by other graves. Gold has already been dead. He died presumably a few years after he defeated Red. He was a young trainer who, despite his efforts in collecting so many badges, attempts at becoming a Pokemon master, still unable to avoid the inevitable fate of death, and his efforts were eventually forgotten by the next generation. I was unable to escape from that text no matter what I pressed. I tried resetting the game and the same thing happened. At which I then decided to finally give up on that horrible nightmare. After that experience, I will never look at a gimmick unknown in the same way again. That's, they say, the only first generation of folk tales and legends, but the second generation have shown me how unpleasant the truth can be. I eventually enjoyed Soul Silver immensely, but I still can't think what that rigged game has told me.